From town seeing Ellie Brown having a pity party in the supermarket restroom. Everyone else pitied her enough. Poor little Ellie. Her dad stroked out on the job, and she dropped out of med school to come home and help her sister take care of him. Couldn't pass the physical agility test to become a full-fledged firefighter, so she was riding in the ambulance with grouchy old Chet. With one last wipe, Ellie blinked at herself in the mirror. The whites of her eyes were surprisingly clear, any trace amounts of red only making the few highlights of gold in her dark brown eyes stand out. Thankfully, she'd put on waterproof mascara that morning. When she worked as an EMT back in Champaign, she never wore makeup, but in Broadlands she had to keep up appearances, since half the town had known her since she was in pigtails. Ellie smoothed back a flyaway strand of hair from her face and tightened her high ponytail. In her dark blue uniform and silver paramedic badge, she looked almost competent. If her father could see her now, really see her, he'd be proud. It had been on his advice that she even went through the paramedic training in addition to her undergrad coursework at the University of Illinois. He'd convinced her it'd be good experience before med school. He had been right, and she hated to admit that she loved the rush of the job, keeping a cool head in chaos, being in control while everyone else was losing it. Maybe she had more in common with her old man than she ever realized. Ellie wiped her nose and put on her best fake smile. Too many teeth, and it didn't touch her eyes, but it should be good enough to fool old Chet. Pausing to aim, she tossed the crumpled towels into the trash can by the door and pumped her fist when they made it on the first try. Yes, she was going to pull it together and get through another 24-hour shift. First things first, she and Chet had better get back to the station with the groceries. There were 8 hungry guys waiting there, and today was her day to feed them. They ranged in age from 22 to 50, but Ellie still called them the boys in her head, just like her father always did. Chief Brown always said the reason God never gave him sons was that he already had a firehouse full of them. A knock sounded, and the door opened a crack.
"Hey, Ellie, you in there? The ice cream is melting. We should probably get back."
Ice cream. Yeah, she'd promised to make her mom's dump cake for dessert tonight. Dump cake was never any good without a big scoop of ice cream on top. Maybe she could convince Chet to use the siren to get them back to Broadlands before the ice cream was nothing more than mush. "Sorry, I'm coming." Ellie squeezed in one more glance at the mirror and then opened the heavy maroon door. Chet stood on the other side, nearly a foot taller than Ellie, his once black hair now silver. She had to pull back when she nearly collided into his chest.
"You feeling okay, Elle?"
Chet pulled out the old nickname her father had always used for her as a child, L for Ellie and M for Amelia. He used to joke that the reason he and Ellie's mom stopped having kids after 2 was because Frances Brown refused to name additional children N, O, and P. "Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry. Thanks for checking out. I've got the dishes tonight."
"Huh. I'll trade dishes for flirting with Tracy Donovan any day."
Chet's overgrown eyebrows wiggled at the 50-year-old woman wearing electric blue eyeshadow and glued-on eyelashes behind register number 1. "Just ask her out already, Chet. Girls like a firefighter." Ellie wrapped her hands around the cracked plastic on the shopping cart handle and guided the full basket toward the automatic doors at the front of the store.
"Well, I was quite the ladies' man back in the day. Your dad can attest to that."
Chet brushed his mustache down with one finger and gave a wink to Tracy as they passed her lane. "Ew, I'd rather not know, thank you very much." She faked a gag and walked out the front doors into the early spring sun. It was warm during the days, but cold enough in the evenings that Ellie had to keep a coat in the rig. The sun was low in the sky, a few storm clouds inching in and threatening to turn the day frigid. Her stomach grumbled. She'd skipped breakfast like most mornings, still trying to drop a few pounds before she gave the agility test another go. Ellie was starting to think of that grumble as a sign she was burning calories. As Chet rambled on about his days as a ladies' man, a voice crackled over the radio. "Dispatch.